What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central. I got Christian in the building. What's going on, fam?
Yo, man, thank you for having me on again. How you feeling? How you been?
Man, listen, I've been out here working. I'm living, man. Did you go to Bulls Fest? No, you had something. Go ahead.
I don't actually remember the day, was it? I think the Sky were in the playoffs, so I was probably
That's
like,
what it was. It was the same day
yeah,
as the playoff game. That's what it was. Yeah, I was like, I remember it was something you were doing. You were covering the Sky. But yeah, man, it's been since the last time we talked. It's been growth, working, adding more stuff to my plate. Unfortunately, that I can't seem to move away from.
yeah,
But I mean, overall, like the way that I look at it, like this last year of content creation for me has just been a year of growth, a year of refinement. But man, it's been fun, bro. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just been fun. And I don't think I could do this if I wasn't legitimately having fun doing it, bro. Like, so
yeah. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, especially at the rate that you do it, damn near daily at this, yeah, you're in the wrong business.
that's what it boils down to, man. But you've been killing it as well, bro. Like you're writing all over the place, covering the Sky. You got a podcast. You got another website you added to stuff, man. You out here not too far off from all the stuff I'm adding to my plate, bro.
Oh man, I had to get in where I fit in. I'm just gracious to people accept me the way they do. Like at one point, I was like, man, I don't know if this is something I really want to do. It's like full
Yeah.
time, and then it's like out of nowhere, boom. It's like, okay, people like it. I like it. I mean, having fun. So try to keep this pace up.
You know when I knew I was like, oh, bro, out here really making it, man. I was randomly watching an episode of CHGO Sky, and they were like, oh yeah, Christian, and I was like, oh, this dude and got the shout out, man. Look at Christian, he out here working.
Oh, word, really? I must have missed
Oh
it. That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So, but shout out to you, like, for covering the WNBA at the level that you do. Like, I think that people overlook the WNBA, but like, yeah, is it perfect yet? No, but like the product on the court is some of the best. But outside of that, like the WNBA has had a lot of growth this past season, and that's the people like you who really are out there covering it with integrity and with the focus and actually love it as well, like helping grow the game, man. You've been killing it there, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Like a lot of this stuff, though, honestly, like when it comes to the spaces and talking on Twitter, I wouldn't be, doing this at the level that I am without Sabria, man. She's literally grow the game. That's her, her nonprofit, and she's just been killing it what she's been doing for so long. I'm just glad that the people are finally, acknowledging that, she's as dope as she is. You feel me?
That's what's up. That's what's up. But man, we are here to talk about our Bulls, man. I wanted to catch up with you because I know it's been a summer of you covering the WNBA. You haven't really gotten a chance to talk about it. But what do you think of the summer that the Chicago Bulls have had? And then like some of the doubts surrounding the Bulls and where they're going to sit. You have people that really do think the Bulls are now all of a sudden going to be fighting for a playing team. And to a degree, I understand that because the second half of the season, only winning 7 games after the All-Star break, you're always going to have some doubt with that. They didn't make the big splash moves, but where do you sit with the Bulls offseason in the summer so far?
Whew, wait, hold on. They won 7 games after the All Star
Only
break.
7 games after the All-Star break. Bro.
Oh, wait, the All Star break is in February, the second week of February. You told me they won 7 games from February to the end of May.
7 games, bro.
Oh man,
it was ugly, bro. It was ugly the second half of the season for the
honestly,
Bulls.
man. I forgot that they. Wow, that's honestly like I get where a lot of people are coming from, where they think that not the Sky, but the Bulls have just kind of like dropped as far last year, and I can't debate that. I really can't. You look at all the other teams around them that were quote unquote worse last year that are now better. You look at Cleveland. Cleveland was already a juggernaut, and now they added one of the premier offensive talents from Donovan Mitchell to an already loaded team. I mean, arguably Philly got better. Miami is still Miami. Boston is Boston. The Knicks added Jalen Brunson. I mean, the East is stacked. The Raptors didn't necessarily get the marquee player they wanted to get, in free agency, but they added my boy Thaddeus Young. So that veteran leadership is going to pay dividends with that team. But as far as the Bulls, I just honestly, I really want to know what they could have done to better the team before they thought that Lonzo was going to be out as long as he was. Because before that, we all thought, okay, Lonzo's going to be healthy, a healthy backcourt of Lonzo and Zach for at least 65 games. That's one of the best, if not better, backcourts in the NBA. So,
Mm-hmm.
you have a healthy Io coming back, a healthy Caruso. I mean, it all really just depends on Lonzo. It really does, because this is already one of the better teams in the league through the first half of the season when they were fully healthy. I mean, they were top three, even when they were injured for about a good couple of weeks, almost a month and a half. So, like, I can't really debate that, they're terrible, but I can't really debate that they've gotten better necessarily when all these other teams around them have gotten better.
I look at like what you said as far as like it all rests on Lonzo. I think to me, I'm looking at the fact that the projected starting five only played 65 minutes total together. And it's such a small sample size that there's enough to say and to look at and say, hey, this team may be better than what we're thinking when they are fully healthy. But at this point, it's like, all right, when is that fully healthy going to come? And then the additions of Dragic and Drummond to the bench, like a lot of Bulls fans thought that they were going to add more true rim protection, as in shot blocking. Now, they went out and got Andre Drummond, who was going to get the Bulls tons of extra possessions, not the shot blocker that some Bulls fans thought they were going to do. So, Christian, throwing it back to you on this one, the fact that the Bulls didn't spend more money in free agency, do you think that's going to be something that comes back and bites them in the ass? Or do you think the bet on continuity is going to pay off with another year, the coaching staff hopefully using these players better together, maybe Patrick Williams, Ayo Dosunmu taking a leap? Or do you think that they should have went out and drastically improved the roster? Well, let me not say drastically, but markedly improve the roster and not just bet on that development. What do you think?
Honestly, I think a lot of Bulls fans are expecting the home run trade for one Rudy Gobert, and a lot of people were pining for that, and I get it, but I don't see how that necessarily makes the Bulls a better team per se, because honestly, you're giving up on P. Will, and you know how I feel about P. Will. Like, as far as Patrick Williams, he has the talent and he has the potential to be one of those lockdown 3-and-D type of guys at the wing position, but we haven't seen that, and there's a good possibility that we don't see that in his time in Chicago as a Bull. So there was a good possibility they could have traded him away in some picks and whatever, but at the same time, does that necessarily guarantee the Bulls actually won a championship in this window? It doesn't.
That's my thinking on that too. So go ahead.
Yeah, like they got exactly what they needed. Goran Dragic, for what he is, he's still a formidable talent off the bench. He can still give you a good bucket when you need it. And you added Andre Drummond, who people forget was one of the better backups in the league last year. Like, Joel Embiid went for at least 7 to 8 minute stretches of games of just not playing because Andre Drummond was that good in the system that they put him in. So, like, when people say that, oh, well, you got Andre Drummond and Goran Dragic and you're expecting something, I mean, yeah, these are key rotation players. There's a reason why Joel Embiid had the season that he had last year and only played a certain amount of minutes. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was one of the lowest of his career because that was the best backup in Philly ever.
You look at, even though it's not a lot of rosters, you look at the rosters that do play more traditional, more big. We didn't have anything to match that. And Tristan just, bro, Tristan got, somebody said the other day, because we went over, I had a live stream and I had looked at it, I was like, Tristan Thompson averaged almost 17 minutes a game, and somebody was like, imagine getting boxed out for 17 minutes a game. I was like, that's weirdly accurate. That's about how it went with Tristan last season. One thing with Drummond, though, is you're not going to have to worry about that. Drummond is proven if you can get him anywhere between 18 to 20 minutes per game, he's going to get you double-digit rebounds and close to double-digit points per game. And he's not a bad passer at all. I think people overlook like how good of a passer that he can be for his position. And then also his steal rate for a center, he has an amazing steal rate. So like
his hands are amazing.
Yeah, it's gonna like it. I hope that it works out the way that it seems on paper. Now we talked about the acquisitions or lack thereof when it comes to free agent acquisitions. The Bulls did make a draft pick in Dalen Terry. Where do you sit on Dalen Terry? What do you think about his potential? Somebody compared him and said he could, like, with minutes, he could have a Herb Jones. Like, I don't think he gets that amount of minutes in his rookie season, but I don't mind the comp. What do you think?
I don't mind the comp, but there's just so many players in front of him in the rotation. You got Ayo, you got Caruso. I mean, you got arguably Derrick Jones Jr., who plays pretty well, I think, in the spot minutes that he's had, especially after Lonzo went out. And I honestly, when it comes to DJJ, I feel like he was, thrown out there on the island as one of the main wing defenders for the Bulls, and he got fried a lot. And that's cool. But that's because he was one of the only ones really out there hustling it during the second half of the season when he did play.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, I like Dalen Terry, but I feel like a lot of the rhetoric around him has been, what can you do for us now immediately? And he's not going to have an IO type of rookie year. Like, I would love that, but the way that IO had to play in his rookie year, you shouldn't want that from a rookie. You shouldn't want your rookie to be one of the better players off your bench. Like, yeah, of course, that's you picked him for a reason, but the role that IO had to play in and out of the lineup with Lonzo and Caruso out, do you really want that from him? Like, do you really want to put him, to the fire that fast? I don't think so.
The way I look at it, like because I have compared it to Io, but in the early season, like in the early part of the season when Io was getting like 8-9 minutes, it was because they can trust him to give you solid defense. Now, I understand what you get. Like, I don't think he's going to have the Io type thing that we saw later in the season where it's like he's playing 20-25 minutes, but I do think Dalen's defense and his energy and athleticism could get him on the court, but I don't think it's going to be, unless there's injury, which knock on wood, I don't think he's going to be anything to the level of what Iowa was getting early in the season. At least I just don't see it. I could be wrong though. So,
yeah, and I created a couple of graphics during the season. Like, when at the end of the season, Iowa was one of the better defenders of elite ball handlers in the league. Like Jason Tatum, Bradley Beal. I mean, the list goes on and on. Trae Young, like he locked up Trae Young literally every single time they played.
Well, that's his son.
Hawks fans may not like it, but Io was in his back pocket, period. So, the role that Io played was out of necessity, honestly, out of pure necessity. And, I just think that the way Dalen has, progressed even in college and, going to his rookie year, like you said, he's not going to have that type of Io year, but for numerous reasons, not of any of his own doing,
Yeah. Did you like the pick of Dalen Terry? Some of the players picked around him, maybe after him? Do you wish the Bulls would have went that route? Where did you sit with the draft pick itself?
I mean, when people ask me these questions like that, I ask them these ones that are against it. Who else would you have rather than taken?
Listen, everybody I covered in this, I have to point this out. I literally covered 28 draft prospects in my draft coverage over the course of a month. Dalen Terry didn't pop on that list not once. He just wasn't on my radar. Everybody that I thought high, other than Nikola Jovic, his potential to me is a player that I wouldn't have mind the Bulls picking over Dalen Terry, but almost everybody else, and I know people were like EJ Liddell. The fact that EJ Liddell fell as far as he did, that should let you know something. Now, Ios fell, and he still ended up playing, but now EJ Liddell is hurt. So there's still some Bulls fans that do think that we still should have drafted EJ Liddell. And I look at EJ Liddell as a pick of, if you did want somebody who can come in, contribute, and give you some things right now, EJ Liddell would have been the pick. But if you're going upside, Dalen Terry has more upside than EJ Liddell at a different position. But that's the way that I look at it. But I still think Nikola Jovic is still the one that I'm going to be watching. Did we make the right decision here?
I would have loved to see him in this system, just for knowing the fact that we need another shot creator, and he is that at almost 6'10", an element that the Bulls haven't really had since a healthy Lauri Markkanen, and that would have been nice on the roster. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't want to say that it's Dalen Terry is going to be great, but I trust Ack and I trust Mark Eversley to make the right decisions, and they have with Io, and they made the right decision with Patrick Williams in the games that we've seen them play. Patrick Williams played, I think, 8 games to start the season. Didn't play until the season was almost over. So, I feel like a lot of the P. Will discourse is just, I wouldn't say misguided, but it's tainted, at least in my opinion.
I feel so. I mean, we've naturally gotten there, so let's talk about it, because the bet on P. Will, the fact that a lot of Bulls fans look at it as the Bulls have passed up on all these deals because of P. Will. Last year, y'all would have said trade P. Will for Jeremy Grant, and I'm y'all got to shut up with that.
Can we get into that real quick before we move on?
Let's do it, bro. Let's go ahead and do it.
Oh my God, The man told you he wants max dollars. You're not going to get max dollars in Chicago. I'm sorry. He wants to be a number one, number two option. I'm sorry. That's not going to happen in Chicago. And you're still pining for a trade for this dude? Still.
I don't understand the love with Jeremy Grant. And the thing that used to drive me crazy is that people try to force Jeremy Grant into being a player that he's not when they're like, well, we need an elite defender. We need Jeremy Grant. What have you seen? Do you watch this man play? Come on, man. Like, but then the Rudy Gobert thing, right? And then you have the Bulls fans that look at it as, oh, well, we passed up on. Do you see what the haul that the Utah Jazz? Patrick Williams isn't softening all those first round picks they got for Rudy Gobert. So I think Bulls fans kind of incorrectly focus their issues with what this front office does or doesn't do with just Patrick Williams, and it's like y'all buy too much into the rumors. There were rumors. It's nothing substantial. Even when you look at the way certain deals fell that would say that, and then even some that did, if you can say, hey, you could have got this player for Patrick Williams, 21 years old, I'm still betting on the potential because we still haven't, like, that second year, wash, throw that away. We didn't get to see a second year of development for Patrick Williams, but the flashes that we do see is worth, to me, continuing to bet on at least for a while and then seeing what you can turn into.
I couldn't agree more, man, especially to, of course, the fact that, like, Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley are hired by the Bulls for a reason. Like, they both have track records that are just stupendous when it comes to drafting and just knowing young talent and picking it where it needs to be picked. Like, the guy was a key role in picking Nikola Jokic. Like, do I really have to prove anything else that he's done in his career? Like, he was under Tim Connolly for the longest, one of the better execs that no one talks about because he hasn't won a championship. So, like, I don't get the discourse, like the hate when it comes to Patrick Williams and Ack and not choosing to move him. And, like, we got to stop thinking that this front office is making moves for the intermediary. They're thinking 2 years, 3 years down the line. And to be honest, they're set up for the future kind of nice when it comes to non-draft picks. Like, just the talent on the roster and movable pieces, they have it. But the draft picks that they gave up for Vucevic, I feel a certain kind of way about it, but at the same time, you have to make that trade. You have to. Yeah. You want to keep Lonzo, not Lonzo. You want to keep LaVine long term. You have to make that trade. DeMar and Lonzo Russo don't come to Chicago unless the Bulls make that kind of little push they had at the end of the season for the playoffs.
I had 2 episodes. I did one of the best moves Acme's made. I did one for the worst moves Acme's made. The Nikola Vucevic trade was on both those lists for different reasons. It's one of the best because it was a trade that signified the Bulls are going to go and become and make themselves a playoff team. And the only reason it was on my list of worst was the 2 first-round picks you gave up in that deal. One that already turned into Franz Wagner. We'll see what the other one turned into. But even then, sometimes that's just the cost of doing business. And like you said, like some people have said that, well, Eversley had a relationship with DeMar. The Bulls offered him the more money, so they could have gotten DeMar either way. All right, I can give you that one. Lonzo seemed like, okay, he was gonna already come to the Bulls. He was destined to come to Chicago. Okay, I'll give you that. But guess what? It's down to some people are Nikola Vucevic. Still top 5 to 10 in every category for centers, even defense people. He was 8th in defensive rating for centers. But then on top of that, a player that as a third option that gives you 17 and 11, as a third option, I'll take that all day.
That and, like, stats aside, the way this team is built, you can't find me another center for his price point that can do what he does on both sides of the court. Like, I get it. It was one of his worst shooting years in his career. I get that. But the fact that he anchored both sides of the court more times than he didn't and was arguably one of the better passers on the team, one of the better initiators when it comes to the offense, you can't argue that. You really can't. And, like, you can't name me 10 others. You can't name me 5 other centers in this league that does what he does as efficiently, as consistently as he does. Like, the Vooch hate, man, I don't get it. I don't. Like, it's like the same thing with DeMar in those last 2 games against Milwaukee.
Oh, man, listen,
he dropped 41 on amazing efficiency. You thought Milwaukee's let him beat him again? No.
literally is like, who we got to stop? DeMar. Zach is hobbled DeMar. Like, that's it. When you have the game plan like that for one player, it kind of is what it is. Christian, you watch basketball as much as I do. I got to ask you this, man. What adjustments do you think this coaching staff needs to make to better utilize this roster next season? Since the bet was on continuity, what do you want to see from it's easy to say what players need to do. What changes do you want to see this coaching staff make?
I think during the last season, I wasn't say it was a majority of the season, but a healthy part of it. I really do think that Billy Donovan's rotations were just killing like the momentum.
Mm,
Um, Also, the relying on Io as much as he did, um, that wasn't exactly something that was something that he could control. It was more so out of his control. And I think
yeah.
that a lot of besides the rotations, that's really I really think the only thing that Billy needs to improve on. But it's like I can't think of the expression my mom always says, but it's something about two hands of the other or something like that. Like, yeah, he needs better rotation management. But look at the players he had to manage. Like,
This is true.
he
This is
only had
true.
Lonzo for what 30 some games. Caruso only played barely 40, I think. Like, I'm not sure what else he could have done better with the talent that he had. Like, he was giving Tony Bradley and said, "Go make a meal."
That's a great point. I mean, you can only do so much, right? You got to have the talent out there to do it.
Yeah,
And like at the end of the day, have they improved it to the way that people did know? The one thing I want to see from Billy Donovan is that I want to see better using some players and better. Like we saw Kobe White, for example, turn into a spot up shooter. That's not Kobe White's game. He's a scorer, not just a shooter. Lonzo, I want to see unlock more in half court offense once he does get back. And then also the thing that we talked about, put the ball in Patrick Williams' hands. Like that's the thing. And that is also on Patrick Williams. I'm not putting that all on the coaching staff, but you got to
yeah.
put more and trust the young guy in Patrick Williams. If you want to truly see him develop, you got to put the ball in his hands a little bit more. That's what I want to see from the coaching staff. I think like minor tweaks, the offense can look completely different with just those minor tweaks, as well as players moving without the ball. There were so many times last season that we didn't see people move without the ball. That was just mind-boggling to me. So I
Yeah.
think if those things kind of come along, the Bulls offense is going to look drastically different than what people are expecting. And we may improve just by the nature of unlocking those aspects of people's games. What do you think?
I couldn't agree more, man. Like, as far as unlocking people's games, Kobe White has never been just a spot up shooter. So throwing him in the corner and saying make it happen, that's
Yeah,
never been his game while he's being in Chicago. And to be honest, I think his defense, at least from the part that he was playing it, was better than the offense. Like,
this is true.
Kobe was locking people up at one point when they were fully healthy. I'm like, yo, who is this Kobe White? Like, he's shooting threes. He's locking up the second best player on the other team off the bench. Like,
Yeah,
this is what we've been needing since they drafted him like 3 seasons ago, almost going on 4 years now. So, like, this is the Kobe White that they need to see more consistently. And that's mostly on Kobe White. Like, the shots that he takes sometimes are a little bit, I think another thing that you add on to that, the shots that he takes are so early in the shot clock.
that is super frustrating. I will give you that. I have no rebuttal for that because, like, you see it and it's like, hey, bro, there was 12 seconds left on the shot clock. That's the time to run a whole set. That's a whole set right there. Come
Yeah.
on.
12 whole seconds, man. That's an eternity in the NBA. So,
Yeah.
like, besides that, that's really about it that I would say that he can improve on. But then again, as the coach, Billy Donovan is seasoned. He's seasoned at the collegiate level. He's been in the NBA for years. You got to know when to pull your guys to the side and be like, hey, that's what you need to do. You need to stop doing this. And I didn't see that enough. Like, I'm not gonna say he's buddy with the players, but I need to see some more of that enforceful, mannerisms on the court, especially in game, because players feed off of that. They see the coach fired up, and you get in somebody's butt, like, yo, this, that, this. Like, people feed off of that energy, and I think that helps more than it doesn't.
For sure. For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Before we get into that, I want to talk about Rivals Weekend, which I had the pleasure of informing you about. That was one of the best things ever, is telling you about Rivals Week. But Zach LaVine signing the max contract, largest contract in Chicago Bulls history. Where do you sit? Were you an anti-maxer? Do you agree with him getting the max? Where do you sit on the contract? And do you think Zach is going to step up his game some now that he's gotten paid?
So as far as the stepping up part, well, is he quote unquote worth it that people are saying, like they were saying before the entire debacle of whether they were going to pay him or not? I'm like, yes, you pay Zach LaVine. Like, what are we talking about here, man? Like, you did all of that. You did all of that 5 years ago
Yeah.
to trade Jimmy, and you got back LaVine, you got back marketing, you got back Jesus Christ, I really forgot about
Chris
his name.
Dunn. Chris
Chris
Dunn.
Dunn. Yeah. Wow. I'm ashamed. But I mean, honestly, I'm not. But then again, yeah. So like you make that blockbuster of a trade on NBA draft night, you have to sign him. You
Yeah,
have to. Period. And
yeah.
plus, outside of just having to because of its pure necessity, he's one of the most gifted players in the league, man. Like Zach LaVine, every time I watch this guy, it's like, wow, he's
I,
fast. Like, yeah,
I think people too forget, like, he makes it look, when he's on, he makes it look so effortless that I
so
think people
easy.
forget, like, it's just like his shot has come so far. Like, because I watched Zach LaVine back when he was in Minnesota, because Minnesota was like my secondary team at that point, because Tibbs went over there and I followed Tibbs. But
Everybody
like,
did. You're not the only one.
yeah, and Zach LaVine's shot literally has come so far where it used to, he was always had a quick release. It's just
Yeah,
so he gets it off. That step back, it pisses some people off sometimes because he does use it at times where he doesn't need to do the step back three. But it's
yeah.
just, it's so fluid. It's a beautiful shot that Zach LaVine has. Beautiful game overall.
And considering how much the shots he actually makes more than he misses, I have no issue with it. Period.
Yeah.
Plus, it's his team. Take shots that you want to, man, because his team wins or goes down with you. So if you're making them, cool. If you're not, just know people are gonna say something about it. But yeah, as far as the money, man, like you have no other option. You pay the man. He's worth it. He's earned every single dollar. The only issue that I really had with paying Zach wasn't really anything of Zach's doing. It was more to the fact that the Bulls now have an injury laden backcourt, taking that into the future. And I'm not really sure what to make of that. I'm not like I get it. Zach got his money, he's worth it, but man, like
Keep in mind, Zach had the one knee injury before he got here. Then he had the one last season. He's really, outside of that, it hasn't been any chronic injuries.
no,
At least,
it's not.
so I mean, yeah, I understand the concern around Zach's knee and stuff, especially when he has a minor knee surgery this offseason. But I don't know. I'm not too worried about the injury part of it with Zach. Lonzo, that's a different story, bro. Me and you were talking a little bit about that before the news that dropped on Lonzo Ball, and the fact that like
Mhm.
they don't know when he's going to be ready. He has days where he's okay, and he has days where the pain's getting to him. Like, it's just the mysterious Lonzo. It was not a mysterious injury, but like I've said this before, I'm gonna keep saying it. Patrick Williams came back early from that injury, 2 months early projected. He has Wolverine healing powers. Lonzo has the opposite of that. He's damn
Yeah.
near Mr. Glass and I hate to say that, but it's like his body just heals slower. If it's projected to be a 3-week healing process, you might as well give it's going to be 9 weeks for Lonzo Ball. And it sucks to say that, but like, because he was everything we needed him to be when he was on the court. We just need to get him to stay on the damn court. That's all it boils down to.
Man, the 35 games, so I'd say before he got injured, I think he got injured, he came back and tried to play a little bit. So maybe like the first, those 32 or 31, whatever games it was he played, he's fully healthy. Listen, man, I have never seen the Bulls play that type of basketball my entire life. And I've been alive watching Ben Gordon, watching all these guys play, hustle, the grit that he brought. So, like, when people say that, man, I don't know, is Lonzo, what are they going to do with him? He has to be healthy. That's the only, just all I can say. He has to be healthy.
You know what he's going to give you when he's on the court. He just has to be healthy to be on the court. Only 24 years old. He'll be 25 around the start of the season. But at the end of the day, it's just comes like Lonzo just needs to stay on the court. Like, even looking at like how what he turned and developed his shot into, like Lonzo could be very special. And he is when he's on the court. Like the out in transition, the court vision, the passing. Me and Pat over on Locked On Bulls talked about one time. Like it's literally, he passes it all the way down the court and he looks like he just did this. Like, it's effortless to him. We just need to get the man on the court, bro. Like, that's it.
He reminds me of Randy Johnson in his prime. And if you know baseball, listen, man, Randy Johnson was one of the best pitchers of all time. And like at his peak, listen, man, that fastball was disgusting. And you couldn't see it because he was a tall lefty. And by the time he left his hands, the ball was already in the top of the strike zone. But like the way Lonzo plays, at least in transition, was the key to the Bulls winning all the games they did. Like the Bulls, I think they were top 3, top 4 team when it came to fast break points. Like they were just gunning teams down, and like, man, I just want to see that happen again. Like you said, he's 24, 25. He's a young guy. It just sucks the fact that he's been out as long as he has. Because you remember when it first happened, it was like, you know what? He's out for a couple of weeks. We're going to see what's going to happen then.
He'll be back
but
by
he'll
the
be back
start
for
a
the
little bit
playoffs.
before the playoffs. Yep.
Exactly. And then we got news 2 weeks before the playoffs even started. Yeah, he's not ready. We'll see if he's be able to go sometime during the first round. And we're, me and you thinking like rational Bulls fans, there's no reason for him to come back. It's the Bucks. We're losing. We're not going to beat the Bucks in 7 games. Like, we'll see him next season. So, and just the news that we've gotten, and then the part that not scares me but worries me the most is the news that we haven't gotten. Like, we've gotten the same story regurgitated to us from different people, just with different headlines. We get it. He's out. We'll see when he. But
like I was telling you before we started recording, at this point, I just want them to come out and start the training camp and just say, don't ask us about Lonzo. We'll tell you when he's ready to go. Otherwise, just assume he's not playing. And let's just move on, bro. Like, that's all I can say. Let's just move on.
The media day is sometime this week, right? Is it next week?
Yeah. Beginning of next week, I believe.
Yeah, beginning of next week. I think it's like the 23rd or whatever date it is. I don't know. But the questions that are going to open up, Lonzo this, Lonzo that. Like, y'all had an entire offseason to get some questions together. Y'all first question is Lonzo? Like, really? Lonzo? You want to waste your question on that?
Oh, man. Before we go, man, so I got to tell you when we were talking about what we were going to talk about today, I said I was going to ask you your thoughts on Rivals Week. Your response was Rivals Week. What's that? Bro, how did you feel? When you looked that up? I wish I should have told you. FaceTime me right now as you look it up because I needed to see your reaction. What was your reaction to finding out that the Chicago Bulls are facing the Charlotte Hornets as their rivals during Rivals Week, bro?
First of all, I didn't know the Bulls and the Hornets had a rivalry. Did you know that?
Yeah.
I mean,
Grayson Allen and the Bucks are right there.
Right there. You could have picked any team in the Central Division at least, and I would have understood that. The Bulls go back to the 90s, the 80s, back when it comes to Indiana Pacers, and like, I just want to know what you thought that making a matchup for quote unquote rivals with the Charlotte Hornets. Like, are they going off the one game that Zach won on the step back 3? I think last season.
I think that they're building it around the Ball brothers. The fact that Lonzo and LaMelo are on the teams, but it's like, even then, it's like, come on, man. Like, I'm not feeling you. There's so many historic rivals. Like you said, you mentioned the Pacers, the Pistons. You can even go the Miami Heat. You could use the fact of Jimmy used to play here. Zach was one of the players who got back. Like, there's so many other storylines that you could have used that would have been easy, lobs, and good matchups. These aren't like teams where it wouldn't have been good matchups. One of the Pacers, we'll see how good they are. Actually, they work out. But like actual matchups. And you went with the Charlotte Hornets. I would love to, like, whoever was in that room deciding that. I'm just like, I need to know what you guys were thinking in this, man.
I'm looking for the actual, like, talking about the Hornets. Here it is. Out of all the matchups during NBA's Rivalry Week, this is probably the one game that has people scratching their heads because the Chicago Bulls and the Charlotte Hornets are not really rivals with one another. This is on Sports Illustrated. Like, what are we doing?
It literally doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense logically other than the Ball brothers. And even then, it's not a rivalry. Like, come on, man. We don't even know if Lonzo's going to be playing. Like, one of the things you're building around this Rivals Week, Lonzo may not even be playing by then. Then what?
The game is scheduled for, what is it?
It's like early February, right?
Yeah, early February.
Okay.
Per Sports Illustrated, the Bulls have won 76. They're 76-45 all time against the Hornets for a 62.8 win percentage. Does that sound like a rivalry to you?
I'm done. Like, the Cavs, right there, new backcourt. The Knicks right there. Come on, man.
Like, do I have to count all the names that Michael Jordan ended their career, so stop them from winning chips? And like 3 of them are in New York all the time. What we doing?
Oh my God, man. I have no idea what they were thinking, bro. That was literally, I'm looking at Rivals Week. When they announced it, like before they announced the teams, like a new Rivals Week, they're introducing, I'm like, oh shit, this could be dope. Then I saw the Bulls and the Charlotte Hornets. I literally thought to myself, okay. There's no, to me, you're missing out on so much. It's going to be televised, I think, on TNT. The Grayson Allen perspective of it all, like that's enough right there, bro. The Bucks were right there, and they got eliminated by the Bucks. It's right there. It's easy. I just gave it to you, NBA. That's all you had to do, fam. That's it.
And like, I'm looking at the rest of these matchups, and these are actually legit rivalries that I think are going to be great games. Celtics versus the Heat, great. Clippers versus the Lakers, of course, tired rhetoric. We get it, but we know, both teams are great now, so you got to do that. I get that. Okay. Brooklyn Nets versus the 76ers. James Harden left the Nets, and he's on the 76ers now. Whatever. I get it. The Grizzlies versus the Golden State Warriors after last season,
Makes
on that chirpiness and that
absolutely,
and the like, come on, I get it. That's great for basketball. And then you go down, you see the Charlotte Hornets and the Chicago Bulls. You're like, were you just trying to get the Hornets and Bulls involved?
One of these things are not like the other, and that's all I'm going to say with that one.
It's not. And I see the Dallas Mavericks and the Phoenix Suns. After the way the Dallas Mavericks embarrassed Phoenix last year, I get it.
Makes sense.
The Grizzlies versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. I get it. I mean, they sent them home. I get it.
I can understand that, yeah.
Raptors versus the Warriors. Everyone is talking about that 2019 championship and the fact that they, quote-unquote, shouldn't have won it over Golden State. So I get
nobody who was on, well, not nobody, but most of that Toronto's team isn't even there anymore. Like,
where's Kawhi at? Where's Serge Ibaka? Nobody's on those teams anymore, man. Like,
come on, man.
I don't get it.
That's wild, bro.
It's wild. I don't get
wild, man.
Who came up with this idea, though? Who thought it was a good idea and signed off on this? There's multiple levels of signing off and making this happen. So who thought? Nobody at that chain of command thought, something else.
I don't know, bro. I have no idea. I have none, man. I got nothing. I got nothing. I'm not usually somebody who got nothing. I got nothing, bro. I ain't got nothing to say with that one, man. But Christian, man, that's all I got for you. Any other thoughts, anything, bro? If not, go ahead and tell them where they can find you at, brother.
Honestly, man, listen. I need people to throw their expectations for this season out of the window. I know it's early, but the fact that Lonzo is not expected to be on the court, quote unquote, anytime soon, per KC in his latest article, I think those words and the phrasing of those words was very intentional to let you know, hey, we don't know when he's going to be back on the court. And I just think that without him, he's the missing part of the entire puzzle. So without him, no disrespect to Goran Dragic, great role player. He's one of the main reasons the Bulls needed him, because they needed bench depth that can actually initiate the offense consistently, something that Kobe White struggled with last season, or pretty much his entire time in Chicago, honestly. But that's because he's not a point guard. Kobe White is not a point guard. So other than that, man, like, just take it easy. Like, it's going to be a great season, but remember, every other team got better, and the Bulls just stayed the same. That matters. I get Patrick Williams, I get the additions, but without Lonzo Ball, I just don't see how this team.
I'm not like Alonzo's. I just disagree with you on that. Like, it's not all resting on Lonzo Ball, bro. Like, and he's great. Like, that's not to belittle. Yeah. I'm not one of those people. Like, I guess I don't rest as much on Lonzo Ball not being there as you do. But hey, we'll see.
No, it's cool. Like, we actually, this is the first time we've disagreed the entire pod.
Yeah, I mean, this literally the only thing we've disagreed on. So.
And the only reason why I say that and why I believe that, man, because the way this team looked without him last year was just a shell of itself. I hope that's not the case this year. I don't want it to be, because that'd be a rough 82-game schedule and have to see another, first-round exit. But I just want them to be healthy. I just want health. Can I get 65 games from Lonzo, Caruso, and Zach LaVine? Can I get that? I won't complain anymore.
We'll see, man. We'll see. Hopefully, bro. Hopefully, man. But give me your social media, fam.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at Snacks for Tweets, like the snacks you eat, the number 4, and then
best username on Twitter, by the way.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. You can find me. A lot of my offseason W coverage will be over at Outlet Pass, but as far as the Bulls coverage, Madison is back, And I have a new co-host, my boy Steven. You can find him on Twitter at staytrue.s3, I believe. He's been covering the league, both leagues actually, pretty well for the last couple of years, and I couldn't be more happy to have him on board. And he is the X's and O's guy. I love the technical aspect of the game, but I don't try to act like I know more than I do. And he's just great at what he does. So I'm just really happy to have him on board.
For sure. Balance is key, bro. I tell you what, it's difficult to do shit solo. So balance is key if you're gonna have a co-host. So
nah, for real, man. But hey, the personality you got, man, it's more than enough. Trust me.
Well, that's because I have two personalities because I'm crazy as shit. That's what all that is. Like,
hey, well, that's when Petty Roosevelt made an appearance.
Oh man, when I got into that back and forth with Jordan Crawford. That was the last time.
This on the time,
bro. I have to see you the video, bro.
Oh, please send me the video, bro. I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I had to get at Jordan Crawford, man. But y'all make sure y'all follow and support Christian, man. He's a great writer, great content creator. Also catch him on Hoop Spaces where he is, as well of those other avenues that he pointed out. You guys know where you can follow us at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, we'll leave a text and our voicemail, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, and we out this mug. Bulls, go Bulls.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.